In this lesson, we're going to be diving deeper into Module 5 and how to drive targeted traffic with this lesson number 2, which covers the fundamentals of link building. Let's dive right into the 5 keys to building links that bring your site targeted traffic and also help your search engine rankings improve. So we'll be covering 5 key elements today. Number 1 is link quality. Number 2 is link diversity. 3 is anchor text of the links that we'll be building. Number 4 is nofollow links. And number 5 is social signals. If you don't know what those are, don't worry, I'm going to be going through them each one by one. So link quality is what we talked about in lesson 1. We want to link to and get links from other sites in our market that are authoritative rather than getting spammed with low quality links, which can be an extremely risky gamble, as we talked about. Even just a few links from high quality sites will improve your site's ranking faster and without risking a slap from Google. So there's no need to buy thousands of spammy links that you can buy from a blog farm that'll likely just be counterproductive in the long term. Now, beyond just getting links, we also want to pay attention to the quality of the link itself. This is the first main element of link building that we need to understand. Now, how do you actually measure link quality, though? We talked a little bit about this in the last lesson, but let's give this some specific criteria. There are primarily 4 key elements of link quality. The first is domain authority and page authority of the linking website. The second determiner of link quality is the relevance of the page and website that's linking to you. Third, we've got the position of the link on the linking page. And last, we have the number of outgoing links on the page that links to you. Let's go through each of those one by one. First off, let's start with domain authority and page authority of the linking site. So the rank and authority of the overall website and also the particular page that your link is on, these are important elements in determining the link quality of your backlinks from any given site. To measure authority, we look at the domain authority of the website, and if you've forgotten what domain authority means, it's measured on a scale from 0 to 100, and the higher is the better. Also, we have a pages score, so if a particular page is linking to you, there's also a score of the particular page itself, and this is called page authority. This is also 0 to 100, and also higher is better. Now, again, we've talked about this in previous modules, and ideally we want to have our link on a page that is both a high page score and is also on a high domain authority website. However, most likely your new link is probably going to be in a guest post or a comment, but won't be on the highest page authority pages because those are usually on a site. They're usually the ones that have been around for a while and are part of the site's core structure, which the owner doesn't often edit. So a link from a high domain authority site, even if it doesn't end up on a high page authority page, still brings a great amount of authority. It doesn't really matter which page it's on. It's better to get it on a high page authority page if you can, but if you can get it on a high domain authority site, that's still a big win. So pay more attention to the domain authority than the page authority score, but still take a look at both. Now, for example, let's say you get a link on Forbes.com, which has a domain authority of 97. This would be much more valuable than a link from a domain authority website of 20. So even if you get the link on a brand new Forbes page, so it probably has a lower page score than its more core website pages, it would still be extremely powerful because it's 97 out of 100. That's really, really awesome domain authority score to have a link from. But how do you actually find these scores? Again, we've talked about this a little bit in previous modules, but the cool thing is that the leading SEO site Moz.com, that's Moz.com, they created a free browser extension that shows you both the domain and page authority for any given site or page. So as soon as we're finished with this lesson, you should go add that extension to your Chrome or Firefox browser and use it while researching the sites in your market. So when activated, it'll show up in your browser like the example on the next slide. So here you can see the extension at work. It shows you the page authority and also the domain authority of the website itself. And you can go around and find these scores for any site that you're looking at and make sure that the site's worth your time to invest the time in to get a backlink on it. The next key to determining link quality is the relevance of a website. So when a site links to you, the link's quality increases when the website and the page it comes from are highly relevant to your site. A link from a high authority dog training website to our skincare site, for example, doesn't really help us that much. Even if dog owners are interested in skincare, they're unlikely to leave the site they're browsing and head over to check out a totally irrelevant site or post. And also, since Google's bots can't see any relationship when they analyze both sites, a link like this can actually decrease our SEO rankings and incur penalties from Google that harm our site's rankings in the long term. So basically the takeaway is don't try to get links from random websites. Again, this is another reason why it's bad to buy a bunch of random backlinks. Instead, use the strategies that we'll be teaching you in the upcoming lessons to target relevant websites only. The third element of link quality is link placement. When you have a link from a relevant site and page, links closer to the top of the page and in the content are actually more valuable than links in the sidebars or in the footers. For example, if you've seen sites with at the bottom in the footer, sometimes they'll have web designers or hosting companies insert something like designed by Designer Jones Industries. Well, that's actually not an ideal place to have a link. Now, why does this actually matter? Well, there's actually two reasons. The first reason is because links towards the top of a page will always get higher click-through rates. People are far more likely to click through our links when it appears right at the top of the page before they scroll down instead of going all the way to the bottom to find it. The second reason is because Google actually places more weight on links towards the top of a page, so it's actually more effective for our SEO as well. Now again, you don't always have control over where people put your links, but if, for example, you're writing a guest post and you can choose where you put your links, that means you might want to put a link back to your own stuff towards the top. The final element of link quality is the number of outgoing links on the page that it's linking from. If a page has 100 links on it, then each link gets a portion of the link juice or link power from a given page. So just how many value any one link gets is unclear, as it's not like every single link gets the exact same amount, but we do know for sure that the more links on a page, the more the page's authority is spread out across those links, which lowers the sort of value of any one link on the page. So to finish up our discussion about link quality, you don't actually have to remember all the details that we just went through, but the key takeaways are extremely important. So let me summarize those really quick. So you want to get as many links as possible from high authority websites, and also preferably a high page authority site, and also preferably a high page authority page. The site should be relevant to the topic of your site. And if you have a link that is only one of a few links and is placed near the top of the page, then you'll get the most value possible from that link and also more visitors from that link. Now let's talk about the second topic that you should understand when it comes to link building, which is link diversity. Because as we mentioned, the spammy link farms that could send a massive amount of links very quickly to their targets, well, one of the ways that Google understands that this is not a legitimate way of building links is because when they look at where your links come from, they are too standardized. There's not a good link profile or link diversity. Because Google actually evaluates, again, what's called your link profile, which is the different types of sites that are linking to you. If you have 100 links from one site, that's a lot less effective than 10 links from 10 sites. So the more you can diversify your incoming links, some from blogs, some from online news sites like Huffington Post, or links from online magazines, maybe some from educational or .gov sites, the higher your site will rank, even with the same number of links. Now, there's another important factor of the links that you get as well. So what the link actually says, or its anchor text, is also important. This is the key concept number 3 for link building. For example, the anchor text of a link might say, click here, or might have the name of your site, or use a related word to the reason why you're being linked to. For example, if you want to rank your page for the keyword best adjustable dumbbells as one of our ongoing examples, you'll want to acquire links with that anchor text, with that exact or a similar keyword. The reason is that anytime you get a link with anchor text that includes your keywords or some variation of them, both the SEO ranking and the human click-through ranks, people who see the link and click through, will be much higher. So, for example, if you link the word the for some reason, I don't know why, it'd be confusing and ineffective, right? Nobody actually links the word the, and it's also not a keyword that you care about. It doesn't make sense as a keyword. And then if you were to click through the name of your blog title, then it would help you rank for that as a keyword by comparison. So if you're still not sure what I mean by anchor text, here's another analogy. Anytime you're reading some text and you scroll over it with your mouse and it turns blue, usually, or sometimes other colors, and it'll underline and you know that you can click there and be taken to more information about that phrase on another site or another page, that's what I mean by anchor text. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that when you supply the content to another site, when they'll link to you, so again, if you do a guest post, for example, you can actually specify which phrases will have the links. Again, this is why I mentioned it earlier, and also why guest posting is going to become one of your favorite link building strategies. But I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. This is something we'll go into in a later lesson. But just something to keep in mind for now is that as you write a guest post, for example, and you're inserting links into your article, you may want to use several different phrases with links, each that maybe target the same website in the post, because that way you can target several different keywords. And actually, if you, for example, used our example of best adjustable dumbbells and use that exact key phrase throughout your articles 10 different times, it's actually likely to trigger a penalty. Because again, remember we talked about link diversity, which includes both a diverse anchor text, diverse sources of links to your site. Again, it's actually called keyword stuffing if you try and put in the same link in an anchor text a bunch of times on the same page. Google actually recognized this as a red flag since it's clearly unnatural and not even useful to readers. There are actually many different ways to include anchor text in any given post. This graphic shows how to vary the links on any page and also still get the benefits of using a variety of anchor text. So for example, you can use your name. You can use the name of your site or your company, or the URL. It can be a URL that's a link. It's called a naked URL. You can have generic anchors. You can have partial matches to the keywords that you want. So take a second and probably pause this video, look through and reflect on these different types of links that you can have, and think about some examples that you can use. Keywords can also be varied via a process called latent semantic indexing, or abbreviated sometimes as LSI. Now, don't be scared by that crazy sounding name. Basically, all that means is using synonyms, as most people would as they organically write and link to things, to describe your products or your keywords instead of repeating the exact same phrases. Like again, you don't want to use best adjustable dumbbells every single time. You can vary it up with synonyms. Next, let's talk about no-follow links. This is going to get a little bit more technical, so we can briefly talk about the fourth key element. Again, this is building no-follow links. So what a no-follow link, it's a regular link, but there's a tag on the link in the HTML. That's a no-follow tag. And what that means is that it tells the search engines not to follow the link and count it as, again, a popularity vote for your site or for the site that it goes to. So this is also in the HTML code, and if, for example, if you're using WordPress, there's actually, when you create the link, there's a little box you can check that says make this a no-follow link. So that's one way to do it as well. And for example, site owners might use no-follow links for a variety of reasons, but the most common is that they want to keep their sites ranking high. So once a site passes through enough link juice to enough sites, its rankings can actually begin to decline. So sometimes very, very popular sites may only allow no-follow links. And for example, the same is true for blog comments as well. If you comment on a blog, it's a no-follow link even if you add one. Now, while these links won't help your site rank higher in search engines, they can still send a lot of human traffic to your site. It also helps your link profile appear more well-rounded as well. If you have 100% do follow links across the entire internet linking back to you, that can also be a red flag in the eyes of Google. So while we would usually want do follow links, a no follow link can still be useful too. Don't get too hung up on this, but basically aim for do follow links if possible, but don't completely neglect no follow links as they can possibly help in other ways. For example, again, if you get a no follow link on Forbes.com, that's still pretty good because that'll probably still send you a bunch of traffic. And finally, let's go through the fifth and final part of link building, which is social signals. This topic actually gets a lot of buzz nowadays because search engines have actually started to increase the value that social media brings to our websites. Social media sites come and go, of course, but there are some obvious winners that you want to work with. For example, of course, you've got Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. They've been around for a really long time and they're here to stay. And some of the newer ones are Pinterest and Instagram, which can be used as well. And Google Plus is still around, but not super popular. And LinkedIn has been bought by Microsoft, so we don't really know what's going to happen with it, but it's being used more and more, and it's probably here to stay as well. Now, you could spend your entire life posting and updating and sharing and tweeting, but you've got a website and a business to run. So how do you choose and use social media in a way that builds social signals in a way that benefits your business without sucking all your time? So we actually look at social as a long play here. And you're going to want to do some research and see if you can figure out where your target market hangs out online and start to establish some presence there, but again, in a way that doesn't suck up all your time, because you've got a lot of things to do to run your business effectively. So plan on spending a small but consistent amount of time both gathering data and seeing how well your content works on social media sites that your market uses. There are still lots of debates about whether social signals actually directly influence the organic ranking of your site within search engines, but they definitely drive traffic and attention, which might ultimately lead to new backlinks to your website or a variety of sharing, which can cause more people to click through, which can cause more links. It's kind of a self-reinforcing circle there. And now it's important that you also don't listen to common advice among gray hat or black hat SEOs to buy fake social signals because it's a complete waste of money. Instead, focus on making your content more engaging to increase the natural tendency of people to share things socially that they like. So this is a much better long-term approach, and really the fact is that only high quality content gets a lot of organic social shares. And then once you have that great content, people will share it, other people will find it, they'll share it, other people will start to link to you, and it's a self-reinforcing cycle that will help you grow more long-term. So that's the basic overview of link building. It's a topic that you can, and some people do, spend massive amounts of time trying to figure out. But using the basics that we've covered in combination with the strategies in the following lessons, we're going to help you leverage the power of link building as efficiently as possible. Now let's move on to lesson 3, which is outreach link building. And after you complete this next lesson, you'll be prepared to start contacting influencers in your market and get the link building process moving forward.